Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Pascarella.
And I'm Chuck Scarborough. The controversy over the speed of the COVID vaccination effort here in New York City intensified today. Mayor de Blasio criticized Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo criticized hospital leaders. And the leader of New York's public hospitals says one reason for the slow pace of vaccinations, healthcare workers resisting taking the vaccine. News 4's Andrew Siff is live in Lower Manhattan with all the finger pointing. Andrew.
Yes, Chuck, I'm out in front of one of two new pop-up sites for vaccinations, one here in Lower Manhattan, one in East Harlem. The governor today talked about opening thousands of vaccination sites, as everyone does agree that the rollout has to get a whole lot faster. She took a selfie inside after getting the vaccine today, and then outside on East 115th Street, physical therapist Kelly Pachuro felt relieved.
Definitely will give me peace of mind. It will give some of my patients peace of mind.
But tension remains high as city and state officials try and fix a sluggish vaccine rollout. Mayor de Blasio said state rules keeping only healthcare workers eligible have unfairly restricted hospitals.
Give them the freedom to vaccinate and they will vaccinate. Thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions.
And the man in charge of the city's 11 public hospitals said at least 30% of employees have declined a chance to get the vaccine.
Last week, we walked through the hospital, all of the clinical areas where we're able to vaccinate, and told people we have empty slots that are available now.
If a hospital says only half of their employees will take the vaccine, we have a problem.
The governor making sure to clarify he's not blaming the frontline workers themselves.
When I talk about slow hospitals, I have greatest respect for nurses and doctors. It's the leadership that I'm talking about.
Cuomo said one way out of the logjam could be for the NYPD and MTA to set up their own vaccination hubs when those agencies get the green light next month. Meantime, Cuomo said the Javits Center will become a distribution site, and the city plans to use these 3 spots as vaccine centers open 24/7 starting this weekend. Among the workers hoping to get the green light, teachers still reporting for work even as the COVID rate rises.
I mean, it's like you knew this was coming. It's like surprise. Like you invited people to come over for dinner at 7, and at 7:15 you start cooking. It just doesn't work that way.
And we just learned within the last hour that school nurses, 1,800 of them, are now immediately eligible to receive the vaccine by appointment only. Reporting live in Lower Manhattan, Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
All right, Andrew, thanks for the latest there. Today, Governor Cuomo once again called for federally mandating testing for any international traveler flying into the U.S., but Mayor de Blasio took it further and doubled down on his call to ban travel from the U.K. to New York City. Now, he is worried about the U.K. variant of the virus and says our area is just too vulnerable.
It's time to stop the half measures. I mean, right now, you can still get on a plane in London, not even have proof that you have a negative test, and merrily come over to New York City and spread the disease. Why? Why is that going on?
The mayor called the new strain tremendously troubling. He wants the ban to buy the city time to get more people vaccinated.
And Natalie, Georgia is now the 5th state with a confirmed case of that new UK strain of the virus. New York City confirmed its first case about 24 hours ago. And today, Governor Cuomo urged anybody exposed to the case in Saratoga Springs to come forward. The patient who tested positive for that new strain is a man who is in his 60s. He works in a local jewelry store. That's where the case is, not New York City, as I said a moment ago. But Saratoga Springs residents had mixed reactions to the new strain showing up in their city.
It's definitely going to change my mindset. I was going out to dinner probably a couple weeks ago. I probably will not be doing that as much.
Everything's going to stay the same. Nothing's going to change, I don't think. As long as people do what they're supposed to do, but they won't.
And health officials are urging anybody who shopped at Fox Jewelers between December 18th and the 24th to contact your local health department and get tested.
Well, virus experts say it's only a matter of time before that new COVID strain spreads to even more states. Now researchers are already busy working to try to find the strain. News 4's Brian Thompson actually got inside one of the labs hunting for this in New Jersey. Brian, looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, it was one of many labs that are looking into this across the nation, here in the tri-state, New York City, all on the hunt for this strain. They've been on it for more than a month now since it was first detected and reported out of the UK. Hospitals worried about filling up again. You know, this is a very tough situation for them, and at this point, they fear that it's already here.
It's a constant effort to be able to understand the evolution of this virus.
In this sealed Level 3 biolab at Hackensack Meridian's Center for Discovery and Innovation in Nutley, the search now is in high gear to find the worrisome UK variant of COVID-19 that is spreading so rapidly it has forced a near total shutdown of England and Scotland as of this week.
It's not necessarily more deadly, but it does seem to infect a wider number of individuals.
Lab research here and elsewhere since the beginning of the pandemic has been looking for the inevitable mutations that all viruses go through. This COVID-19 virus standing far outside the norms.
Not just in your respiratory cells, but it's found everywhere in your vascular cells and your neural tissue.
But just as SARS-1 essentially mutated itself out of existence, the hope is that COVID-19 will recognize it cannot continue to be a killer in the human body.
If you kill the host, then you've basically extinguished your own life. Suicide. So it's suicide, that's correct.
But if a mutant version gets out of control, whether by its ability to spread or to defeat vaccinations, such as these of healthcare workers in Hackensack today, well, then health officials know that no matter how much they prepare, we're all in trouble.
We have 6 months of PPE on hand. We have been able to source additional staff. We've been able to increase our capacity of beds. But you know, there is a tipping point, Brian, where it would be very, very challenging.
Now, we've talked about this race between COVID-19 and the vaccine. Now it's a race, a hyper race, if you will, between COVID-19 variant UK and the vaccination program, because they do believe it will still be effective against that variant. But Garrett from Hackensack Meridian says that if this vaccine wins, then, well, we may be facing a lockdown like we're seeing in the UK. Live at JFK in Edison, Brian Thompson, News 4 New York.
Brian, thank you. Want to get to